welcome to the Friendly Fire Show.
Episode 121.
For the 14th of March, 2016, Tano. I know that you've been here the entire time, but we don't say who we are anymore.
Sure.
Say it.
That was weird.
Say an actual sentence so people think that we're not just putting in like a clip from before.
Okay.
No, I disagree.
No, look, it's good to be back from my 2, 3, 4, 5 week hiatus, maybe.
Well, we haven't been doing. We don't do one every week. We're pretty slack. We skip sometimes.
The secret thing, this is actually not Tano. He died. Clearly, he fell off a ledge or something.
Well,
I am his evil twin, Romero.
We killed off his character.
You're Taniel.
I need like a weird Latino name if it's going to be like a soap opera twin, you know?
Giuseppe?
No.
Why is the twin a different nationality?
I don't know. Yeah.
How does that work? That must have been one hell of a party.
Romero's kind of an Italian
It's so
name.
evil. It was born somewhere else. From the same woman, though. She
different
took a flight.
parents.
She took a flight, got a passport arranged. He's a citizen of that land.
In the
I was born on the border.
in the thing where you have the checkpoint at the airport. That's what's going on.
No, I was born in America, I was born in Mexico, hence Romero, and then Gaetano was born in
Italy.
He's committed.
Where they
committed
border.
to the role.
California.
On the border of Sicily and Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, down in the northeastern
Around that
region.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, within a couple thousand miles.
Yeah.
Ben, are you yourself or are you an evil twin?
No, I'm myself.
Oh, it's boring. So welcome to a jam-packed week full of jam-packed goodness of games and news and things and stuff.
I'm really hoping for jam now.
Like strawberry?
packed
What's your
with
favorite jam?
Red color? I don't know.
No, but raspberry's gross and
Yeah.
strawberry's amazing.
Oh, I was going to say raspberry.
No, get out, Romeo. You're the worst.
Romero. Get it
Whatever,
right.
Romeo.
Well, that was better than chicken chat. Jam
God,
chat.
why are we talking about jam?
Our mate Leo's not here. That's all right. We'll get by without him,
That's
unfortunately.
why there hasn't been chicken chat for a while.
We don't need him because games have actually come out.
Ooh.
No longer necessary.
Shots
Very
fired.
good.
Are you going to
right.
kick us off with one then?
Well, I think we have all played The Division, which is odd because normally we only have one person who's played it and the rest of us just like, I don't care about that. But finally we have something we've all played.
True. Yes.
Yeah. I have a question. I was going to aim it at Shane, but I guess I could also aim it at Steve.
Or Ben, because we've all played it.
No,
Yes.
I was going to say,
I
is
think we
this
all know
kind
Ben's
of...
different.
Does this have the potential to kind of have the legs of Destiny and kind of keep you engaged for the
I'm gonna
same
say
length of...
straight away, for me personally,
Yeah.
which I think is like a good analog for the rest of the community as well, I don't think so.
I agree.
I don't think anywhere near it.
No,
It's
I
I think the thing that made Destiny last forever certainly wasn't the content. It was the the gunplay and the actual gameplay is excellent. Like Bungie know what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
The
stuff.
story was
Whereas
shit for a year.
Not that the
Division
Division is bad
but
gameplay
it
wise.
feels like kind of refined PS2 gunplay, really. Like there's nothing...
It is very PS2, but
Yeah.
not in terms of the mechanics, in terms of how it throws enemies at you.
Yeah,
For-
and their bullets...
For a cover shooter,
bullets
I think
sponges.
it's pretty damn good. Like
Really, yeah.
there's a lot of cover shooters out there, and I see them as all kind of very similar kind of thing. Like that's a genre that I don't delve into very often because it's something that I feel like I've played this mechanic over and over, and they're either really good and they really work, or they're like when they're bad, they're terrible and just not fun. This works. It's really good, but yeah, it's really heavy on the bullet sponge, goons, off you go kind of thing. And I mean, it's funny. There are a lot of similarities between this and Destiny, but there's a lot of things that make it really different. Like I think we were talking the other night, Ben, about how it's already got more of a story than Destiny because Destiny didn't have a story. But I'm starting to slide back on that. I agree with you, but like, there's not much there.
It's true, but it's a rubbish story. It's a serviceable story, really. It explains what you're doing.
There's
really,
an introductory story, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, I assume more is coming. Otherwise,
not really
it's very poor.
it's
I was
kinda-
more engaged with Destiny's story in the original game. than
These
I am
characters
with
are
this.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
awful.
couldn't care less about woman who's
There's-
missing an eye and
there's
some
one or
guy
two
who
people-
hasn't loaded yet but is in the cutscene. Like,
Yeah, he loves it.
A guy who used to be a TV star or something, or thinks he is.
Oh,
I wouldn't even
every like what is it, JTF officer or whatever in each new safe house has got
Every time I see JTF, I think DTF, and I laugh. And sorry.
Well, they've all got their own persona, and it's just like the first two, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And then I got to the third one, and yeah, it was like I can sign some stuff for you or whatever. I'm just like, wait a minute, are you going to do this every single area that I go to? Try and make me give a shit about this?
Just give me the
asshole?
laptop. Give me the map on the wall.
I'm not
Shut
interested.
up.
You're not a very interesting character anyway. I don't know.
So the problem that I have is that I was playing with Ben and Hamish for, well, in different groupings over 2 nights. It was really good, and I was having a good time with it, and the three of us were smashing things. And then the last couple days I've been a bit busy and been hard to match things up, so I've been playing solo. And I've just been stuck, like on level 10-ish, on Dark Zone and normal, and just like slowly kind of building up XP. But like mowing down little like level 8 people quite easily, and then like turning a corner, and then all of a sudden it's like level 20 guy, shotgun in the face, dead. Oh, you got to respawn now, and it's just like this. It's not even a fun grind.
You're not. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
nowhere
thing
near
is
as-
you're not supposed to be anywhere near whatever that is. Like that's not supposed to happen. You must be in the wrong area or something. But it's
guess.
not
It's just-
clear enough to
Well,
make
but
you
every
realize.
mission
That's
I'm,
a
I'm
UI
sick
issue
of
as
doing
well.
side missions, and I'm sick of doing encounters and stuff. So I'm like, I've done all these missions. What's the next mission I can do, like proper one? It's like, oh, that's level 20.
Yeah,
I've
I've almost reached.
I think
up
I've done 3 story missions. I'm level
They're probably
24
the best part of
normal and like level 19. No, maybe 20 or 21 Dark Zone or something.
I'm
But
legit
I've been
10-ish.
playing it flat out like with a bunch of people, and all the people I'm playing with now are the people that I used to play
Were your
Destiny
Destiny
with.
people,
So
yeah.
we're like I've got 6 or 7 people on. So we can jump in and out of different groups and stuff, and we've like formed up and got like 2 big parties together in the Dark Zone just before the servers went down for maintenance, which we didn't realize, which is a shame because it took us like half an hour to coordinate and get everything together. And then
Stevivor.com. You could Google Stevivor.com to go to Stevivor.com
Well-
and read the news. Wait, there's a better way to
when
do
was
that.
when was this news?
It came up on the day.
you don't expect.
Oh no, I don't mean the server thing. Like
Did you know about that?
no, I didn't. But like it took us forever to figure out how to.
Don't you read the news?
I didn't get a note in
No,
the game.
definitely not.
But
There's-
I mean,
on the homepage. the
why
news
would you
something.
expect a game that's just come out to have its servers be down 2 days later when they were down at launch as well, like at 5
Well,
p.m.?
look, I was one of the few people of the like 7 of us that didn't know that it was happening. But no, Tano, there's no way I'm going to read the news in the game because there's way too much shit going on. I'm like 3 or 4 days in, like solidly into this game now, and now I know what's happening on the HUD at all times and why everything is where
Oh,
it is.
it's a
But for the
mess.
first 10 hours, it is dog shit. Like there's so much going on. That like
And it's
there's just way
all
too busy.
almost
So
useless
Ubisoft map.
information.
It's
Yeah.
so.
Oh, that's.
Ubisoft
I'm not
map.
even talking about the map. The map's standard Ubisoft garbage, but just like the interface
Yeah.
and your heart
Terrible.
and everything, like
Unusable.
It's trying to teach you to do. I was reading your thing on it just before, Ben, saying like when the tutorials pop up, like they all like anything that comes up, it's clearly after you've been doing that for several.
Or
hours.
they come
like
up
you've
when
already done 3 or 4 of
someone's
those.
killing you, and like, I don't have time for this.
Every time
whatever.
I've seen a tutorial, it's like, what? I just did that like
Yeah.
10 minutes ago. Give me the tutorial when I open that menu and start doing that. Don't give it to me when I'm like, hey, you bought a thing that has nothing to do. I don't know. I don't understand that. Honestly, I think it's a decent cover shooter. I've been playing by myself a little bit here and there, and in groups and stuff, and it is very different. Depending on what you do, but there's no real incentive to do missions over and over again in Destiny, except for loot drops. In this, there's a lot less incentive to do it. I think
Have
they
you
should
played
be.
any mission on hard mode?
Yeah,
The loot
They're great.
dropping is pretty.
They're
They're
fun,
great,
but like,
they're even more bullet spongy. Just like
yeah, they are. I mean, I like it because
It's pretty
I'm enjoying the fact that like when I'm playing with people, we all have to go, okay, what's everyone got? This is going to be really hard, and we sort of split up our abilities so that we can vary as much as we can, and we have to be really tactical because if we don't, you're dead. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying the challenge, but
yeah, it's a great Tom Clancy game. I don't know if it's a great MMO. I'm still like, I guess we have to review it. I don't even know. Like, I don't think it's even worthwhile almost to a point because it's been a week. Well, and like you've put up a thing, and Hamish has put up a thing, and I've been putting up tips and tricks and stuff. I'm like, maybe that's all we do for this one. Like, you're either going to like it or not, or you're going to go back.
You've either already got it. No one's on the fence. Like, who doesn't
Well,
have someone. If you're on the fence and you don't have someone to play with, then don't worry.
I think
about
there'll
it.
be a lot of people that will play for an hour, and they will, will just be like, "I'm lost in the amount of stuff there is here."
5
You have to
hours.
play
It's
for
a mess.
5 or 6 hours to even
yeah.
get to the point where it's worth continuing. You know, it's a
Exactly.
real grind. At
The
at
matchmaking
start.
works okay, I reckon, surprisingly.
I haven't used any of the matchmaking yet.
The matchmaking for certain missions, like when I've been like level 7 or 8, and a mission has been like recommended level 10, I've initiated matchmaking, and I've been matched up with people level 10 and 11. It's worked really well, surprisingly.
So you're getting carried, is what you're saying?
I think I do all right.
Well, the other thing
I mean, I
is,
die a lot, but
the other thing I really like about it is they've for a game that's a loot MMORPG shooter, whatever the hell this
FPS,
thing is,
third person.
a Destiny clone sort of. Like the big problem with that is it relied so heavily on RNG, and a lot of times like multiple levels of RNG packed within each other that were just ridiculous. Like if something drops, and then when it drops, what it's going to be, and then what the stats are on that thing, and it's insane. But the Division is obviously loot based, but there's plenty of ways for you to get stuff. Like you can just buy stuff, and there's so many different vendors, and they've got different stuff. And it all improves as you get better. So I've just started buying weapons. I'm not relying on drops anymore because there's specific weapons that I only want to use 1 or 2 guns. Like there's only one gun that I like to use for my primary, and I can't really play anything just because of my play style. Like
The weird thing is, like with you, Shane, if you go back, I don't know, like
this could be a very long list.
you're a weird guy. No, like if you go back 40 episodes or something, even you didn't play shooters like at all. And now, this isn't just a shooter, obviously. But you're talking about like you played Destiny, and now you're talking about like RNG and drops and like the gun that
Destiny
you use.
has.
It's crazy to think that from where you started, where you are, like this is.
I want to expand on that as well because Destiny is really the first shooter that I played, and I don't. In my head, this isn't a shooter. Like you're obviously shooting, but in my head, that's first person. Like I played plenty of cover shooters before, like heaps of them. But I'd never played a first-person
when you think of
shooter.
you think of multiplayer COD shooter.
Yeah,
right?
and here's the thing as well. Like, just when we all got kicked out the other day when the server went down, all the other guys said, "Oh, let's go play Rainbow Six Siege." And one of my mates that I played Destiny with like almost every day for a year and a half was like, "Hey Shane, how come I've never seen you play Siege? Don't you have that? Like, you should jump in with us. Like, you do really well in our team." I'm like, "There's no way in the world I'll ever play that game. Like, I'm not interested in it at all." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Why?" And I was like, because it's PvP. He's like, "Dude, we just got kicked out of the Dark Zone." I'm like, "Yeah, but this is nothing like that game." He's like, "It says Tom Clancy in the title." I'm like, "Yeah, but Jesus Christ, like it's so hard for me to explain." Like I kind of see it more of a sports game like than a video game where it's like here's the same thing,
like just numbers.
No,
it's like headshot.
It's not the numbers. I mean, I'm trying to explain like the difference between like the shooters that I don't like and the ones that fall into some weird niche category where I'm like, yeah, I'm all about this now. Like I'm changing my life so I can do this.
Like Rainbow Six Siege is
an example.
If you're
of
bad
like
at it, you will not have fun.
No,
Whereas,
it's not like it's not even that. What I mean is like it's an FPS PvP game. So because we've had this conversation as well where like I said to Steve like, man, I don't like those kind of games. And you're like, what? You play Destiny? It's the same thing over and over. And yes, I play the same mission over and over and over, but I can't figure out a way to sort of explain how Destiny and the Crucible in Destiny is different to me, because it's just like play for 10 minutes, who's got a higher score, and then play again. Like I'm not competitive enough to be interested in it.
But it's not the exploration or is it? played.
It's sort of it's more. I mean, for the
Or, like,
Division, it's
loot
definitely the
exploration.
RPG element of it, like character building, like stat building,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and gameplay. But yeah, also exploration. But also, like, I'm not interested in sort of, my 5 guys will fight your 5 guys, and we'll see who's better, and then we'll do that again for 6 months.
I went to Sydney and played Battleborn and hated every bloody second of it. But I have to be really careful about what I say because I don't think the story embargo's up yet, but the incursion embargo is.
Before you go anywhere, Steve.
Yeah.
Which battle game
Not
are we talking
the Bethesda
about?
one.
Not the Bethesda
Not
one.
Battle Cry. Battleborn is the one made by Gearbox.
The one that looks awful, not the one that looks like it will never be
Wait,
released because it's that awful.
Is it a MOBA?
Yeah, kind of.
Is this the one that Leo really
Yes.
liked at E3?
Your answer is yes.
I also liked it.
Your answer is yes because the incursion bit is MOBA. So Gearbox is making this like first-person shooter MOBA game, and there's a story mode which is PvE, and there's an incursion mode which is PvP. And I cannot talk about the story yet. I can only talk about incursion. So incursion is basically a MOBA with a first-person shooter combined. So you're playing 5v5. You get dropped in the map. There are lanes, like MOBA lanes, but they're not as set out like MOBA style. Like there's kind of sort of paths to get to where you are. And your 5 people have to escort minions to the other side of the map. And those minions help take out a tank.
Oh
Which
my
you
God.
can't really like destroy the tank until you do it. And then once the tanks are destroyed, you beat the other team's base down and then you win. So it's like a shooter MOBA. And it's got that like stupid Gearbox like hilarity. And I'm using massive air quotes here. Like
So it's
quirky
not funny.
for the sake of quirky and it's not enjoyable at all.
That was crazy to me. Like, I asked you that question, and I am interested in the answer. But while you're explaining, I just couldn't stop myself from tuning out. Like, that's
'Cause it's really bad.
That's it. Yeah.
craziest shit I've ever heard.
And
Like,
there's 25 characters who are all just quirky. And,
Well, when you have to buy them
Like
all
the universe
separately,
is dying.
and there's like $500 of DLC on day
you
one.
don't have to buy them all separately. They
If-
all come out.
Well,
It's part of the game.
2K's involved, so with
yeah.
their track record. But they may have made a worse game than Evolve here. This sounds even
It's
worse.
just, it's like, if you like Borderlands, then I guess you're going to love this game.
Oh, it's for that crowd. Yeah, I don't like
I actually had
Borderlands.
good fun at E3, but I can see that, especially with the DLC and stuff, that it really is kind of being set up to just fail.
They may have learnt their lesson, but from what they did with
doesn't
Evolve, I
sound
can't
like it.
imagine that they're going to be...
Well, from now you can see that.
well, they've only had one strike. Everyone works on a 3
well,
strike system.
They had,
correct?
NBA
that,
2K.
that one's worth 2 strikes, because that's how bad that was.
Who's umpiring this match?
Me.
Is it you?
Yeah.
How come I wasn't told?
You're my assistant umpire.
I definitely should have been told then. Whatever.
My preview of Incursion Mode was basically just, like, factual. Like, you have this. This is possible. Da, da, da.
Is that because that you're so?
It's because I'm going
locked
to
into
rip
what you're allowed to
Battleborn
say?
a new asshole when I get to talk about story. And that's probably already saying
So
too
the
much.
story's bad, is it? Well, I could have told you
The
it
entire
is.
game.
Is that what you're getting from? I thought ripping a new asshole means like
Very-
it's so
it's-
good.
it's
I'm going
very-
to rip my
yeah.
asshole.
As a homosexual, I want to give it another asshole.
wasn't
because I
even
want to have
Very
intercourse
fresh
with
and
it.
clean.
Oh, my God.
Very new. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
just-
it's a brand spanking new asshole. It's just installed today.
You know what comes out of an asshole? Shit. Just loads and loads of utter shit.
We're not still talking about the same thing though. Are we?
I'm still
Because
talking
then,
about.
then you would be.
I'm talking about Battleborn, but only specifically.
I was giving you an
Incursion
out, but fine.
mode. It's not for me. That's a nice way of ending that bit. I'm done talking.
I'm
about
not into
Battleborn.
shit either, really.
I hope not.
What sort of person is into shit?
Oh, there are people.
Do you have
out
any
there.
hobbies?
I'm sure there
No.
are.
That guy.
Many hobbies.
What was that stupid
Foremost of
movie
which-
about the guy who works at
Freddie got
with
fingered?
with no?
Oh,
the
he's like a
Australian one.
Portaloo
Shane?
guy.
Kenny.
Oh,
Kenny.
Kenny the toilet
Oh, Shane
guy.
Jacobson's the guy who is Kenny. Yeah. that's
All
it.
right, because you
He
looked
likes
at me
shit.
and said Shane, and I was like,
No,
I know
this-
it's not Shane.
Is it-
Should I be
I'm
offended?
only
This
looking
what
at you
you
because
do,
you're
Shane?
across from me.
Yeah,
Shit.
I wasn't trying to imply
No,
that
that,
shit.
that
So,
checks out. That checks out.
Basically, this game's so bad that we stop talking about it and move on to talking about toilets.
So I went back 9 years to play Wii launch title Twilight Princess.
Did you take
which is now on Wii U.
an almanac and
Yeah.
win the lottery?
But
or?
did you play it on
Bet.
Wii or did you play it on GameCube? Because it came on both.
No, I played it on Wii. It was very hard to get a GameCube copy because
It was a GameCube game ported to Wii. Come on.
Yeah, and
yeah, but with Waggle.
well,
Come
it was
on,
it was no
Waggle.
different to any
All it
cross-gen
is
game this
is
generation.
a precedent It's the original counterpart for what the next Zelda is going to be.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Oh man, did you see that? Sorry, I'm really preempting this
Jesus,
discussion.
there's a bat in here. Did you see that?
I couldn't download the Division in time, and Ben did because he has NBN for a little while. Sorry, that was made me sad. Why did I say that? Because I'm trying to deal with my emotions.
Give
Anyway.
him his knife back. It's just between his ribs.
It's just me trying to cope. Anyway, so I rollerbladed like a cool 1980s kid to Ben's house and with a hard drive. And
Let's just all savor that moment. Rollerbladed.
I was wearing
I
pants.
laughed so hard when I heard all about that.
And
I just picturing you rollerblading anywhere or the fact that you own rollerblades, and then Ben's like, well, you know, he's like, it makes sense because he plays hockey. I'm like, you've killed that for me now. That was so hilarious, and it makes so much sense.
No, but I did wear neon.
You play hockey, so like, there's nothing funny about that anymore.
I wore neon
funny.
orange pants
Yeah.
and had like neon pink bandana doing so, and like
guys on Muscle
like
Beach
Footloose,
in LA.
like, sweatbands and stuff. Anyway, so I get to Ben's house, and it's taking a while to copy the Division to my hard drive, and he was playing Zelda. Because he's like, screw this, the Division isn't even working. It was the same time that... No, it wasn't. It was before that.
This is the first
servers
time
were
it
just
didn't
down.
work.
So
I
it was
should
launched-
mention before we move on, actually. No, not right now. Go on, Steve, sorry.
All right, so he's playing Zelda, and he goes, I didn't realize this is basically Ocarina of Time. Again. But, did you see today, Aonuma basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, for once, we're going to make a game that isn't just Ocarina of Time again. It's going to be like playing Ocarina of Time for the first time and going, ooh, this is something new. I appreciate
You're
that.
paraphrasing
Although
the
that
translation.
sounds like when they said Wii's graphics will make you go wow.
It will make you go, wee.
Isn't that the quote that they said?
They did compared to PS2, so I guess if that was the comparison.
No.
Yeah, well, I said in my review that I didn't realize it was... Because I couldn't remember it at all for some reason, just total blank.
It's the wolf one.
And it is... No, it is like...
That's what should have been called Zelda the Wolf one. That's
But
what
even-
it is to me.
So the wolf is the only new thing, really, and that's kind of just replacing being young Link versus adult Link in Ocarina of Time.
And Midna is the hay
It
thing.
changes how the
Yeah,
world
but I mean,
works.
yeah, that Zelda is... Here's the thing that differentiates between the main... Like, it's either time or seasons or wolf
Yeah,
doing...
but I mean...
Wolf being.
Yes.
They're all following a very tight script, but
Yeah.
they normally, like, between those games, we had Majora's Mask, which was a pretty big deviation, really.
That's why it's my favorite, because it's so different.
And so was Wind Waker, really, compared
No.
to... No, I think it
I
was.
completely disagree. It's exactly the same as all the others.
But those are the only ones I've really played. And that's
Yeah.
why he's like, oh, you know when you save Zelda? I'm like, I actually don't, because I've never saved Zelda.
You do in Wind Waker, if you get to the end.
Oh, I don't know if I did.
Don't spoil.
Well, I mean-
you do in everyone. Sorry, that's
Maybe
a
you
huge
should die
spoiler.
Majora's Mask.
It's always Ganon. Oh,
So yes, no, I agree. It is very similar, but not to the compared to Twilight Princess. Wind Waker isn't similar. It does enough that's different. This is a copy for copy. You do exactly the same temples, basically. You have a few different items. It still comes together really well, but I didn't realize how much of a similar game it is.
Yeah.
It wants you to think it's not, with being dark and the wolf and how they probably marketed it, I assume, but it is more so. Not that that's a bad thing.
But this is a game that you've reviewed and then you're still playing, which that to me is kind of like the way that you gauge how you actually like a game. If you've written it and it's kind of out of your
that's
mind,
like
and you
first
keep
party
going back.
Nintendo, though. I reckon, like especially for Ben, like
Yeah, and it was the one that I couldn't remember, so I wanted to do it all, and so maybe I will remember it. It's perfect, and also I tried to play it on Wii, and what a nightmare! Like half the screen, half the HUD is telling you what buttons to do, and it's got an entire Wii remote on the screen at all times to tell you, like press A to jump or
How did anyone
whatever.
ever play the Wii?
And yeah, it's unplayable.
it was
because of
great
that.
for tennis and
Yeah,
bowling.
via bowling. Yeah,
It was perfect for that.
Virtual tennis was great on it as well, and so was Mario Galaxy. Anyway, continue.
Well, it's actually playable now
and
with
so
a
too
controller.
was Metroid Prime or something. Said
Yes.
Ben, and I believed him.
Wait,
it was
what?
horribly
Well, that was
burned.
a GameCube game, but
I'm sorry.
Wait, is Metroid Prime being ported? What or
The
something?
trilogy.
What's happening?
It
well,
has
the
to
trilogy
Wii.
was
to
to
Wii, which is that
I don't
version
care
is
about
on
that.
Wii U.
And it's worth
No.
like $200.
I don't
if you
care
get a
about
copy
that,
of
and
it.
I don't care about if it was on Wii U. either, to be
You know
honest.
what? I was thinking it's very odd that Nintendo constantly release their old games on platforms, but they've only done 2 actual HD remasters when they were all the rage for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're both Zelda games.
Why is that odd?
Well, I thought it's...
You'd think that they'd be the ones to cash in the most.
Wii U was their first
No?
HD console.
because that's
Sony
what
clearly
everyone
wouldn't.
else is doing.
No, but
Nintendo
it's-
never do what
but
anyone does.
they have then
ever.
done it a little bit. And they kind of
They've
needed...
done it a different way. It's what Nintendo does.
Well, both Wind Waker and Twilight Princess came out 10 years after they originally did. And next year will be Mario Galaxy's 10th year. So if it's ever going to happen, I think it will be... I think they want to have a big gap between them. The original... Just my theory. If we're ever going to get like Mario Galaxy HD, which is the one people have been asking for, I think it will be NX next year.
Yeah. If we're talking about like first party, I think Nintendo should stick with Virtual Console, and Microsoft's going with backwards compatibility. And and this is me. I know I'm biased, but I feel like Sony's definitely the worst offender when it comes to just like HD re-releases of anything
it's because
they possibly have.
they've cornered themselves where they don't have another option. Like they've got the like
They tried
we'll do
PS Now, but
PS2.
it didn't really work out.
That's why, because PS Now, especially as people
in
who live in
Australia.
Australia, it's not.
But
Do we even have
in-
it here? We don't.
Even
right?
in the
We don't have
States,
it
no.
here.
Because
Even
if
in
we
the
did, it
States,
wouldn't
it's
work.
not doing well.
Yeah, because it's a shit idea. Like,
Well,
who wants to
it's
rent
not-
something
not-
they already own?
Really?
But frankly, backwards compatibility on Xbox has been there for, 3 months now? How many of those games have you played again?
Alan Wake's American Nightmare.
I played
one.
Crackdown. I played a bit of Fallout 3.
You guys have been
Oh,
playing them.
Mass Effect.
I got a bookmark with Red Dead Redemption on the Xbox store
Yeah,
that
me
I check
too.
every
South
morning, and
Park.
it's still $50. I'm waiting for it to drop.
South Park.
Oh yeah, is it?
South Park, yes.
Is that
serious?
back? Of course, I never played it. Awesome. I'm gonna play that.
Oh,
Dude,
you
it's
should definitely-
amazing.
Yeah, I know.
It's amazing.
It came
made
out
me
around
make
the
a
same
word out.
time as I got my new console and was like, well, I
It's pretty
kind of
great.
can't.
It's pretty great.
There's some pretty good games that if you haven't played that you enjoy.
Oh,
There's only a
Yeah.
few that I'm really hanging out for. Like,
But yeah, like
Yeah, I didn't
this,
realize
this
that was on
weird fascination with looking back, but you never actually want
It is
to.
nice
once you can.
to know that you have those games you love there ready to play if you want. Like, if you own something, and I know you don't have a 360 anymore, just knowing that you do have it available is nice. I don't know why.
Oh no, I get that. I tell you
it's
what.
a collector thing, I guess. Like,
Yeah, it's just like,
Yeah.
I like this game and maybe someday I feel like playing it. You never will, but maybe.
Well, I went. It's nice in the fact that like I went to talk to Remedy for Quantum Break, and I'm like, I should play some Alan Wake, and then I was playing it on Steam, and I'm like, I should, because like we started the YouTube channel up again for Stevivor because I accidentally deleted it. So I'm like,
Wow.
I should record Alan Wake gameplay, and trying to record a PC to PC, like it's too hard. And I'm like, man, if Alan Wake was actually backwards compatible right now, I just like connect one cord into Xbox One, have gameplay for yonks, and you just
Hang on, can't you just record on the PC you're playing on? Surely
not
you can. That's
mine.
a
It's
thing.
not powerful enough to render game and also
Oh.
copy game. So, and then trying
That's
to go
horseshit.
PC to PC,
Well-
like you lose the sound unless you like try to do this weird thing. It's like, ugh, it's too hard.
Speaking of not powerful enough and backwards compatible, or
Wii U?
Virtual Console,
Oh.
no, Super Nintendo games are finally coming to new 3DS. And you know why I'm pissed off about this?
no cross-buy.
Yes,
No
I have
cross-buy.
I have all
What
of them. I
the
have
hell?
Earthbound and Link to the
Oh,
Past.
but there's a
on-
deal that you can give the money for something you already own. There's a deal. You can give them the money again.
Yeah, that was
in the
between
deal.
Wii
And
and
they'll
Wii
say
U.
thank you, and that's a deal.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
very annoyed
bad.
about that because
Yeah,
I would
same.
play them both on
I'm
new
so
3DS.
pissed off. Yeah, definitely. Because I'm not going to play them on whatever
which
else
I
I've already
bought
got
them
them
on for some reason.
Does anyone have like a stake in the why haven't they done this sooner? Like, is the new 3DS really only powerful
Yes.
enough to do this?
Yes, I actually looked into it because Vuk told us about it. I didn't really understand it at first. It's like, if you didn't understand this, you should be doing a different job. Like, But I'd never thought about why SNES games weren't on 3DS.
Classic book comment.
But I looked into it, and it actually makes a lot of sense because basically, his example was with GBA, because GBA games were put on 3DS via the Ambassador program, but not on the store, and they're on Wii U Virtual Console, and people are like, that's dumb. And I get that point of view, but regular 3DS, oh god, it's so complicated. Old shitty 3DS is not powerful enough because the 3DS has...
What about the Ambassador games that I've
No,
got?
well, that's exactly it. The 3DS has... It's actually similar to how the Xbox One does backwards compatible. 3DS has two processors in it for top and bottom screen.
Yeah.
And so in the GBA example, because it's got a DS inside it, it just plays DS games because it's essentially a DS as well, and that's got a GBA inside it.
Yeah.
And how GBA played DS played a GBA game was it just used a bottom screen processor as a GBA and shut off the top one. And so the Ambassador is doing like a dodgy backwards way to tell it to do that, and that means it shuts off 3DS features, which means there's no save states or go back to 3DS menu or anything like that.
Like the fabulously successful Pokemon games they just released, which they changed intentionally to be that.
Oh, what?
So
yeah.
They got rid of all that shit.
Their thing is it has to be a game that can run within the proper Virtual Console emulator. So you can go back to the main menu basically.
Doesn't have to be.
feature. Well, Nintendo
They've
said...
decided it has to be.
Nintendo said we've set that as a benchmark and we want everything to be that.
Except for when we didn't. Please
except for the
understand.
Ambassador programs are the only ones that don't have that. And
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're like, we did
that's
this
why
once,
they
but
didn't
no.
sell them. And they said at the time we will never sell them because of that. Anyhow...
I thought it was just, we'll never sell them because thanks for buying the 3DS when there was nothing around.
So, yes, basically to summarize, 3DS was not powerful. It could run the games, but not by running them as an emulator. It could only kind of dodgily do it GBA because there's technically a GBA in 3DS buried in there somewhere.
Which has been fine for the last 4 years. Yeah, I agree.
It does work fine. I mean, like, I would happily pay for them, but Nintendo will not sell them to me.
Well, it's good you say that because you'll probably happily have to pay for them several times before you die.
Now that we have a new console coming up and apparently better online purchasing with Nintendo account, I'm not going to buy anything again on these virtual consoles because they've restarted them once and apparently my Wii U and 3DS aren't linked like
Buy
I thought they
if
were.
you're planning to play it that
So
day.
I'm not going to get anything else on 3DS.
I just have 3 words for you. Far too factual with all that
Yeah.
GBA.
This is
3DS.
Ben and Nintendo or some kind of like Ben and an anniversary. Ben knows.
Just
knows
like
facts,
you,
mate.
like 40 episodes ago, you don't play shooters. Like 40 episodes ago, Ben's like, Nintendo's the worst. And I'm just singing their praises, justifying them.
No, I hate them for not having cross-buy. It's
It's a
outrageous.
love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
clearly.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. It's awful. Well, Ben and I went on another date.
Of course you did.
This is date number 4.
Where was I? Where was Tano?
Date 4.0.
I mean, Romeo or whatever the hell his name is.
Live free or date hard, I think we will call it. We went and seen 10 Cloverfield Lane. It was awesome.
I was invited to that.
Were you there? Because
I totally.
Oh my
forgot.
God.
I actually forgot about
man,
it.
we were looking for you. Well, I was crazy looking for you.
I know
Ben
why.
mentioned. I think Tano might be here because I've seen an RSVP with Francesca's name on it, and I was like, "Where is he? I need to meet Francesca. The worlds must collide.
Romeo
Let's
just went
do
over the
this."
How
light.
did you see the RSVP?
Because the one you RSVP to went to press at MGN, so it went to both of us. That wasn't sent directly to you.
Oh, so did you use Francesca's name to get in?
No, I get my
He
own
used
one.
my
Oh,
name.
okay.
I always get 2 invites to it.
Yeah, okay. I actually totally forgot
Anyway,
about
you weren't there, and I was.
Anyway,
disappointed.
tell us about the film.
It was really good. It wasn't
can't
what
really
I was
say-
expecting.
Is it like
much.
Cloverfield Monster at all?
It's not. It's
Is
look,
it related? That's a
It
better
is
question.
no. It's not. It's
no.
not in the same universe. J.J. Abrams has said it is not in the same universe.
Which
It
means
is just
it's-
during production they said it feels like quote a blood relative to Cloverfield. There's some similarities and like
that's dodge then.
it's not. It's not.
I want
well,
it to
It's
be
like
in the
Prometheus.
Cloverfield
It's not
They
that.
say it's not, but it is.
Here's a good.
and-
Here's a good. It's definitely not Tano.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It's different, but it's cool in a different way. Like what did you want? Like there's no the same monster and there's no those characters or any reference because
so
it
like
is
they're
in a
not
different
in a bunker
universe.
because the Cloverfield monster's on top going.
I'm not really going to answer any of those questions, but here's a good example of what I said. They just added that thing in recently.
They clearly
I
did,
looked
yeah.
it up again even more. It was the first instance of it being titled 10 Cloverfield Lane was about 2 months ago, and it was when they did the first trailer. That's when Abrams was like, I reckon this has got a bit of this kind of vibe, so they changed the name. And I was reading some...
What was it called before?
It's just called
10
like Bunker
Smith
or something.
Valencia
wasn't
or
it?
something, I think it was called. Or maybe that was Cloverfield. I don't know, mix them up. Anyway, either way, I was reading an interview with one of the actors, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't realize this was a Cloverfield franchise movie until that trailer came out." I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm in that movie. That's not what it is. Whatever."
It was. They're not really hiding from the fact that just
no-
before it
there's
was
no need
released,
that
they
it's-
added Cloverfield to
Yeah.
it.
there's no need for it to be the same thing. It's cool on its own, honestly.
Oh,
like,
I want it to be cool.
It's
and
more.
It looks great.
It's way better.
But
than
you can't
Clover-
deny that the Cloverfield aspect has
the
been
brand
like, ooh,
is,
wow.
is
Yeah, well,
there for a
Paramount
reason.
were loving the fact they did that because
They
it had a
should've called
tiny
it
budget.
They should have just called it 10 Star Wars Place. Done.
Yeah.
And then went da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-da-da-da-da, like a better...
No, I
mix
thought
of
you were
it.
thought
going
you
into
were doing
Melrose
Melrose
Place.
Place.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
was.
Steve, you're
10 Cloverfield... There's 10 Star Wars Place, and then I did Melrose Place, and then
it's a
Star
remix.
Wars.
cool.
I get it.
John Williams is rolling in his grave. He's not in yet. Well done.
Anyway,
Anyway, it's awesome because it's not just like it's not what you think it's going to be. I guess it's like a whole. It does. It won't. It like refuses to stay in one sort of genre of movie. It's like it's all over the place. It's really cool.
I'm going to love it, and I appreciate that you guys are being very good about not
There's
giving me any idea.
It's
what
like a
to
binary
expect.
thing, Steve. Either we give you
It's one or
any
zero.
information and you know everything, or we give you no information and you can
It's
enjoy
gonna
it.
be Good.
It's great.
Well, it does a good job of you don't know what's really happening until it happens. So, like, that's its thing. It wants to keep you on that edge. That's how the trailers presented it. But, like, as soon
Yeah.
as you say anything, you're going to give something away that you'll see something early on, it will click it for later. Like, you can't say anything
So
about
let's go on the Golden Mile tomorrow for Ben's going away, and then after 12 pints, go and watch 10 Cloverfield Lane, and you guys will be so drunk that you'll just like blurt out the.
We'll do it in the
1
line.
or 0.
Man, I can't believe
You mean
Luke
12
it. It
hours?
was JJ!
Jar Jar Abrams was the bad guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That was good.
Okay. So, what's the deal with Microsoft?
That's the question that every angry fanboy on N4G is asking right now.
There's a lot to go over. The thing which, I know there's 2 studios closed down is big news, but more to me was, how did a game in Fable Legends, which was meant to come out last year,
It's done.
and
It was
was
shite.
done, and then
And the
got
beta
cancelled.
got like good reviews and everyone was enjoying it. And it's supposed to be out in a couple of weeks or
how
something.
can that?
isn't it?
How can a game that's basically out get cancelled?
I
'Cause
heard
I
it was
played it.
You know,
Pretty
the last
positive.
game that this happened to that I can
I
remember
mean, the general consensus was, yeah, this is all right.
was
It's competent. That's
well,
Well,
That's
if
a
it's
compliment.
competent and done and going to make you money,
Yeah.
release it.
Well, it was
Don't
free to
cancel it
play.
and kill everyone.
the last thing I remember that was essentially released and then cancelled was Ashes Cricket 2013, which was the worst.
When was that?
2013.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, thought so. Thought so.
I got you there. It was not great when we played at E3, 2 years ago?
I don't get it. They didn't.
But I mean, 2 years ago, it
was
have been.
Evolve.
It must have been a different game.
It
2
was
years
Evolve
ago.
at the time where Evolve
Yeah.
was still cool,
'Cause it was-
and now it's not.
it wasn't free to play initially, right? They added that later, I think.
That's
Yeah,
the
no,
easiest-
it was.
that's the
They did
easiest
change
way-
that later.
And there was like cross save and cross platform and
It's
stuff.
it's
but that
been a
didn't save it.
nightmare.
And then, well, it must be in a horrible place because I don't get it. And they didn't say anything why. They just like, nah, that's cancelled.
I don't think we missed out, to be perfectly honest.
No, it's just
and like
such
I
a-
don't think
It's such a weird situation.
Lionhead has been neutered since Fable 2. And then Fable 3 came out and they tried to do all this like stupid stuff that didn't work, and then they tried to microtransaction Fable for Legends. They're like, it's just been going downhill since Molyneux left, even though he's an idiot himself, but like at least he probably like stood up to some of this stuff and just kind of like down.
I think it's kind of weird. Like, I don't really care that Lionhead isn't going to be around anymore. I think that like it's obviously bad because all those people lost their jobs, but I don't really care about the developer not existing anymore. I think the fact that Sony came out today and said, hey, we're going to hold like a job thing for you guys is just them just pandering to try and look like the good guys
They
as well.
need a game that isn't Uncharted 4. P.S. Have we not seen anything for Uncharted but making ofs? Like, where is gameplay at this point?
I've
It's
been
delayed again
avoiding
till
all
May.
that stuff because
This is-
every
yeah.
trailer's like story trailer. Like, I don't want to.
This is how Uncharted work. So I'm not.
Alright.
I mean, Naughty Dog works.
Oh, I don't, like,
but
there's no way they're going to screw up Uncharted. Well,
they have
unless
done
it's
it
Uncharted
before.
3.
They have done it before.
Goons. Hired goons.
They
Hired
did. They
goons.
did announce in a news story maybe a month ago that after What's Her Face left and What's His Face and his mate came in, they totally redid the story.
I'm confused about whose face is whose.
Amy Hennig is
I don't
one
think
of
we
them.
need to talk about Sony.
Yeah, sorry.
Sony have been
So,
just
back
trying
on
to cash
track,
in.
how mad am I that like Lionhead has not been great from like in my opinion lately. And all the news is
lately.
no, but like,
They've never been great.
but all the news is like Lionhead may close. And
No, they said they're closed.
no,
didn't
no,
they?
they're potentially closing. They haven't said. Yes
I think
or no
how
yet.
they worded it is
They're going to
yes.
close.
Yeah, they're
Close.
definitely
they're
closing.
going to close, but they're reviewing it technically.
No,
but like,
I'm not getting that. But yeah,
more importantly, they closed Press Play, which they're not a super new studio, but they're not very old. They made on mobile Max and the Magic Marker, and they made Max and the Curse of Brotherhood. Like, it's a really nice little like Finnish, Swedish, Polish studio who make like that
some
kind of,
Scandinavian
that kind
jerks.
of- yeah, there you go.
They've got heart and they like things.
No, but like just like a nice group of people who make decent games, and like they are.
Yeah,
they
I don't
were
want to
making
murder 'em either.
Project something or other.
No, they're not.
Like they're not now. But like, so they decidedly on that day were closed, and Lionhead was. We're thinking about doing it. It's probably going to happen, but like it's not set in stone yet. And they just got swept under the rug because Fable Legends got canceled.
Well, they didn't.
Well, I mean-
say that in the. Did they say that
It
in
was
the?
in the same statement.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. And
'Cause I
no
thought
one, no one.
But there was a
cared.
lot of other studios that have closed down, but they didn't say. But it's like they just
Well,
they
there's
took
like
them off
five,
the
but
website
they
or
said
whatever.
that we
yeah.
put them into different Microsoft Studios camps.
Okay.
So like they've dissolved the
Well, I
studio
mean-
and put them somewhere else.
I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And to be honest, it's not to me. It doesn't. It's not a huge deal, I guess, because Fable's been in turmoil for just like development hell for a long time.
I think
And-
Fable as a series has always been terrible anyway. I didn't like any of them.
No, two
I don't-
is-
I
two
like
is
the
amazing.
first
Like
few
any
were
other
alright. I
game
enjoyed
either.
it, but
But
anyway,
then-
I think
but then
more
my mate
importantly,
my mate Philly Cheesesteak went and just put his foot in his mouth. Really, Shane. Go ahead.
yeah, I want to ask you, Steve, because you've obviously got a really good insight to your best mate Phil Spencer. What the hell is going on?
He's not talking about
I'm not
Xbox
saying
One.
I'm not saying what the hell is going on, but everyone's just like, oh, Phil Spencer just came out and said, because this happened just after Quantum Break was announced to be not an Xbox One exclusive. It was going to be on PC as well, and everyone was like,
Yeah.
oh, end times, no, how dare you? You
And
can't do that. And then
So before this,
Yeah.
sorry, the second component that we need to equate, I guess, is that he said Windows Universal Windows platform means we can do all this stuff on PC and Xbox and da-da-da-da-da. And the guy from Epic said, well, they're trying to monopolize PC gaming, so like
as
if you want a game out,
Steam-
and you're going to cut it out of Steam. No, but like you're going to cut it out of Steam, and it's going to only be available in Windows Store. And
sometimes
that
things are
cuts out.
exclusive. What else?
But so like, but then that happened, and he's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's good, too cool." And then like the next component to this whole
What
story,
he comes in and says something that makes a hell of a lot of sense is that like video game consoles are the one part of like all similar industries where the updates are like, okay, here we've got a console, sit on that for 6-7 years maybe, and then we'll update it, and then you can move on. Like you look at PCs, update constantly, everyone's phones, which are becoming platforms for video games as well. Everything's backwards compatible and forwards compatible or whatever. Like you can play something because the operating system updates. And I mean, he was talking about the first thing that I think of immediately is the RAM pack or whatever with the 64, which is obviously a really outdated idea and a bad way to
No.
bring it
Yeah,
in.
that's
but
not the same idea.
The first thing I
But
think
yeah.
of is like Sega CD.
yeah, which is a bad,
Which is
thing
also
to think
horrible-
of
which was
because-
also horrible.
But at least the Nintendo 64 thing worked and existed and so on. The CD
I
thing
think there
got
was
it
it.
didn't really. It was like 3 big games.
No, you know what it
That
was? It was
Yeah.
the new 3DS of the.
Yeah, while we're talking about updates that are pointless to hardware, new 3DS.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
But I think there's nothing wrong with what he's saying, and it makes a lot of sense.
No,
but
it
people
doesn't.
just after
really-
you don't think so? Or
No, God no. And I this is the article that I meant to write and didn't. He's saying the Xbox potentially won, but he really meant, he said he's come back and said, like, I mean the next
yeah,
Xbox.
of course he
really.
means the next
But
one.
like, we'll just use the Xbox One as an example. He wants the Xbox One to become like a PC, and that you can buy removable, changeable things to make it better, so you can play better games.
yeah, which is optional.
Which makes your Xbox a PC. And I bought my Xbox, so I just bought it, and it plays Xbox games,
It
and
depends
I don't have to
how-
worry about if I have this graphics card or this interchangeable
But what
RAM
he's
bit
saying
or
is
this thing.
it's optional, so you don't have to worry about that. That's what I think is it makes
But
sense.
that's
Like
the same as GameCube and Wii versions of Twilight Princess.
what?
Well, like, it's optional, so it'll play, or it'll look a little bit better if you do this, and this. But then
No,
it's
that's
like,
it. You've got a
but
completely different console there, though. What do you mean it's the same as the GameCube versions? Of...
So, like, you can play a game on your Xbox One or
Yeah.
your super modded Xbox One.
Yeah.
And they've had to develop it for both. So it's going to have different settings that work
But
either
that's
way.
how PC games work.
Yeah, but I don't want a PC game. That's why I bought an Xbox. I just want to
Yeah.
put in a disc and make it work. And this is like when you go and buy like a 3DS or a 2DS game. There's like a chart on the back that's like, do you have this, or this? And there's like little dot points, and you're trying to figure out what the hell corresponds to you.
I agree, and I understand, Steve,
complicated.
but I honestly think that like if video game consoles are the only sort of thing in the electronics like area of stuff that don't
Update enough.
don't
What if-
start picking up this newer idea that everyone's doing, or not even new, like PC and phones and all that sort of stuff. Like if they don't pick it up, then they may well just kind of not exist
it's
anymore.
different to PC because PC you're actually dismantling it and putting a new component in. I assume this is going to have a special port that's just plug and play or whatever. What if it's just you get a new little box, they release a new one every 2 years or something, so it's 2 for the lifetime of the console, and that just keeps that other. Or
I
alternatively,
would rather have games that look shittily for a 4-year span and just get a new console every 4 years.
Yeah, that's-
Instead of 6 or 8. Like we're doing
well,
now.
6 has actually been a long generation. They used to be 4 or 5. So what if we go the other way and we go down to we get a new console every 3 years?
Well,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, see, you're fine with that, Steve, but I think the general consensus will not be that at all.
Do you reckon?
Yes,
Because we get a new
100%,
phone every-
because
most people every 2
are going
years.
to be. There's going to be an outcry. People are like, why do I have to like the fact that Nintendo were like you were thinking about an NX or whatever. People are like you've made so that there's no justification for me to have bought
And that's
the
going
last
to be
one. People
4
are pissed
years
off.
still.
They think that, especially coming off the shit gen that lasted for 7 or 8 years or whatever. Everyone thinks that even though we didn't update and we didn't improve and we were stuck with the same old tech, we were getting more out of it from developers and all that sort of stuff eventually. So it was improving over time, but people only want to think of, well, I only had to spend so much money on that console originally and it lasted me 8 years. They want it to be shit, but they also want to be able to upgrade, and I don't know, it's all over the place.
I get what you mean, but like if I ever have to play a game on PC and I see specs, I get terrified because I'm like, I don't know what my PC is. Right
But this would avoid that.
I agree, Steve. This is why I don't play on PC at all. Like I'm
But I
completely
feel like
with you, but I
this
think
will
if it's
start
optional,
that
like
trend,
Not
on a
quite. It'll
console.
just be like better with expansion pack, essentially. We already had that happen
As long as
before.
it's just that, then fine.
I think that's what it's going to be.
They
for
want
a
to make
while,
it. They want to
anyway.
keep it simple. It won't be
Because
like here's 20 different graphic cards you can put in your Xbox 3 or whatever.
I think what he's saying is the model for consoles is outdated. Like it's not. We're at generation 8 or whatever it is, and it's just kind of it needs to change. It's what we're in is something that started way back in like the Atari days. Like it's not a thing anymore. Like it works, but I think so many people are moving over to PC as well. Or I don't know. I'm just guessing.
but sales rates for consoles are higher than they've ever been.
Especially if you're talking about Sony's PS4.
You know, and like,
But why not cash in on that and sell 3 consoles in a generation?
analysts at the end of last generation, they were saying, "Oh, this is going to be the last generation." In like 2010, this will be the last generation, or the next generation will be the last generation.
Yeah.
Based on
And
sales,
then Degrassi came out, and then there was another generation.
But like you could
Exactly.
you could even look
New
at like
generation.
last gen they released Kinect as an optional enhancement
Yeah.
essentially, and it's the same thing really. You didn't need to have that, but there were some games you needed that to play. It could be it's the
yeah,
same
but the thing with
really.
that is like the Kinect took so much processing power off the Xbox, it basically crippled it. And then they went, "Oh, that's a bad idea. We should give that processing power back."
Oh, we're not saying they're perfect. Sega CD was your example. This
Yeah,
is
no, that's what I
insane.
mean.
But
Like,
it's not like
Yeah.
it didn't happen last generation. There was here's a bit of hardware that makes these games work.
I
It was
hate
just
to
a
use
different way to
slippery
do
slope,
it.
but it's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be done the right way. I don't want consoles to turn into PC, but I'm open to the idea of improvements as the generation goes on that need to be completely
What if
optional.
it was only once? Like, so we have a 5-year console, halfway in,
that's fine.
There's spend another $100, you add this to the USB port, and it makes it more powerful. So the later gen games
a year
look
into
better.
the generation, like times
It
have
couldn't
changed
be
and you need to
USB,
buy a
but
new
you'd
hard
have-
whatever,
drive.
whatever it
You'd have
is.
like a SATA.
It'll be a proprietary port. Whatever they have. Whatever.
Yeah.
What does Connect use? That weird port.
Yeah, that's proprietary.
Something like that.
You need like a SATA or an IDE or like something standard. I don't even
If
know.
it's standard, then no, that'll make it a PC thing. That'll make it so you can mod it yourself.
Well,
That's what you wanted to stay away from.
But the thing that I like about consoles and that I've always liked is I buy one thing, there's like an Xbox One label or a PS4 label on the top of the thing. I know it's going to work. And it's going to work to the best that game will produce or can produce. And it's not like Ben's looks better than mine because he bought the $50 extra thing on this bit that does this.
I know, and I do agree, but I think it's just. Don't you see? It's,
So you're
it's
saying I'm an
weird
old man and I'm scared of
No,
change.
no.
Like I get
I'm
that.
just saying,
too.
like, it's weird that there's a black hole in video games as an industry where it doesn't emulate anything else in electronics. Like,
But there's already a response to that, and the response is buy it on PC. Like, get a super hard rig and buy the game on PC. Like, if you want to get out of that mindset
but
that I have,
that's
go
not,
on PC.
That's not one or the other at all. Because I don't want to. I never want to play anything on PC ever. I'm not interested in it. I prefer the same things that you just explained, Steve. Like, I want to play console for the same reasons that you do.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to the industry growing and changing to benefit games.
Oh no, I get it. I think the agreement here is it has to be the right design. And
Yeah, they're going to be really careful with this thing. But you know, there's a couple of years before they do it.
I think they probably looked at that people, on Xbox One, just bought a additional hard drive and you plug it in and it works. And I think a lot of people have done that. And a lot of people on PS4 expanded their hard drive, which is a feature of it. And I think they probably are looking at people are happy to do that. So what's the difference if
It's
we
got to be the
give
market
them
of.
But that's a USB port.
it's
like
the
we're talking
market
hardware.
is-
You can't like USB port RAM in.
No, I'm
in that kind of
whatever
stuff.
they do, it'll be like the expansion pack. It'll be thought ahead, and there'll be something you just slots in. You won't have to take your console apart and do anything weird with it.
The reasoning behind this as well is you've got video game consoles as an industry, and you've got hardware developers looking at it saying, some of these people have got this console, they don't have much money, they don't have much disposable income, they're still fans, they're still loyal customers. Some of them do. How can we make them pay us more money somehow?
Well, Xbox One Elite controller. I mean, they're trying
Exactly,
that already.
exactly.
Or like 9 different limited edition PS4s.
How
which
can we
people
do it
keep
but
buying.
not piss off the other people who can't afford it or aren't interested in it? I think that's what they're going for.
Oh, we could talk about this for years and years and years, and whereby we'd have like 15 iterations of Xbox One's -2.5
Friendly Fire Show
update.
0.6
Yeah,
required.
happening. Let's call it a day, a night, a week.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's end it.
Fine. Join us next week for a very special, a very somber episode of the Friendly Fire Show.